today, joking, that's what I'm doing today. Guys, today I'm going to be doing the Irresistible Book Tag. I originally saw this on Ridiculous Lay's channel. Ridiculous Lay's channel. She just started uploading. She's like so funny and just adorable, and she has great book taste. So if you need book recommendations or to just have an entertaining video, go ahead over there and watch it. So this book tag is like a Fall Out Boy themed book tag from their American Beauty, American Psycho album, and I don't think I've mentioned this, but I love Fall Out Boy, so like a book tag and Fall Out Boy together, I'm just real pumped. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one is Irresistible, a book that you wish you didn't love so much or a guilty pleasure. And this one may be shocking, I don't know, but I'm going with Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas because I love this series so much. Like, I am obsessed. I want everything to do with this series, and yet I realize how problematic it is, so like I wish I did not love it so much. I fully see all of the flaws with racism and diversity in this series, and like, I recognize that, and so I think that I can still love it despite that, but those issues are always going to be in the back of my mind, so not a guilty pleasure necessarily, but I wish that the series itself could change a little. Does that make any sense? No? Okay. Well, there's my answer. American Beauty, American Psycho. Either one character that everybody loves and you hate, or a character that you hate and everybody loves. And for this one, I'm going with a character that I think I love and a lot of people don't hate necessarily, but are annoyed by, and that's Hamlet. This is a weird answer, I know, but he's so, like, oh man, I don't know, he's insane. I think that's what's so interesting about him, is that, like, he has some issues he needs to work through, but it just makes the story very entertaining, and I don't know if you've probably, Hamlet's not like a casual thing that people read. I read it in school though, and I don't know. It was entertaining for me, so Hamlet. Centuries, a book or series that you think should become a classic. And I actually have two answers for this one. The first one is Centuries, and that's the name of the song, not the book title that I was going for. I'm going with Hunger Games and The Book Thief. I have two answers for the not the first time, nowhere near the first time. Book Thief is just a standalone novel. It's so enveloping and unique, and like the storyline is just beautiful, and the way that it all just flows together is so like impeccable that I want everyone to read it. I want it to be a series. I want it to be like required reading in school. I want everyone to read this book. And then I'm going with Hunger Games because it's had such just a large impact on our generation, and even if people didn't love it, like they still watched it. It was one of those movies where you're like, yeah, I've seen it. And they're like, did you like it? And you're like, not really, but I've seen it 6 times because it's, I don't know, it's just one of those series. And it's also, it was a big like introduction to YA, I don't think just for me, but for a lot of people, and it kind of got YA like back into the groove of things, I feel like, and dystopian. It threw off a whole dystopian like generation of books. So The Hunger Games and The Book Thief. It's Earn All Right, a character that you think deserved better, and my answer has spoilers for the Darkest Mind series, so if you haven't read that series, please do not spoil yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. Just like any spoilers, don't do it. So I'm gonna put in like a little time clock link here thing, so you can click on that and skip to the next question, or you can just wait until I put the book down and then you won't be spoiled. I'm giving you all sorts of options here. Don't ruin it for yourself. So a character that I think deserved better in the Darkest Mind series is Col Stewart. He didn't have the opportunity to learn that he was loved or learn how to control his powers or help other people with his similar powers, and like just because he was a red doesn't mean that he couldn't have been helpful and like a good person, and he was such a good person, and he just hid it all behind like self-hate and anger and power, and he deserved better. He deserved to learn to love himself. Okay. I'm done now. Uma Thurman, one of your top OTPs, and for this one I'm going with Kaz Brecker and Inej Gaffa because these two, they're distracted by each other in the worst possible moments, and like all of their interactions are just so addicting. Like, I want to reread all of their scenes because they're so natural, and like there's tension, but not like a good kind of tension. Like, it's not like an abusive relationship or anything, and I don't know, I love them. I love them so much because they're like the not couple of all couples. So, Kaz Brecker is actually a 12-year-old boy. Just throwing that out there. Jetpack Blues, a book that made you very sad while reading it. And here's the thing, I don't really read sad books. Like, I read a lot of like angsty books and like action books that are bound to have some sadness, but I don't read just straight sad books. So this answer is like kind of true and kind of not. I'm going with Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. It made me sad, but I loved the sad. Is that weird? Like, I was enjoying this book so much that I was really sad when it was over. That's not the answer that this question is looking for, but it's the answer that I'm giving. So if you feel like breaking apart inside, this is the book for you. I'll read the other ones first. There's like a whole order with this series. It's a little complicated. Novacane, a book that you wish you could forget that you read. This is no surprise when I say The Reader. That's the only thing I have for this question because I mentioned how much I dislike this book in a lot of videos. 4th of July, a book that you were really excited about but didn't meet your expectations. And for this one, I'm going with Shadow and Bone, or really the whole Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Like, I enjoyed this series. It just wasn't as high as a lot of people had put it, but then a lot of people had said it wasn't great either, so it was kind of in the middle. Like, I wasn't expecting very much, but I was still expecting at least a little bit. And so I did enjoy this series. I just don't, like, love it like I do with Six of Crows, but that's understandable because, like, Leigh Bardugo has grown in her writing in between these two series so incredibly and, like, at such a large scale that I'm kind of in shock that they were written by the same person. I feel like that's saying a lot. Favorite record, a book or series that you can read again and again and not get bored and still love it again and again. And this is actually very many books for me. Like, I love rereading. I could read this entire shelf, that shelf, that shelf, that shelf, and that shelf, and some of that shelf, and actually some of that shelf, not all of it. I'm getting off track. The point is, I can reread books that I love and, like, love them just the same. For this question specifically, I'm going with Illuminae. My friend's borrowing it, so I only have the cover right now. Bear with me. So this book, I don't know, I feel like I need to read it again, because once you get into the style of the writing and the format of the book, it's just so much more enjoyable, and so now that I'm already comfortable with that format of the book, I feel like I would enjoy this book even more than I did the first time, which doesn't sound possible, but it's worth a shot. Immortals, a book or series that you wish would have continued. And for this one, I'm going with The Foxhole Court, or All for the Game, by Nora Sakavic. I wish there was a side series. I don't necessarily wish that this series continued because this trilogy just, like, it wrapped up perfectly. So I kind of wish there was, like, a side series of one of the Fox's lives before. Oh, definitely. Because we all have enough headcanons about the Fox's life afterwards that I would love, like, full canon of each of the Fox's lives, like, before everything went down in this trilogy. Because we all know that they've gone through some crap in their life that made them who they are today. I'm such an emotional wreck about this book. Twin Skeletons, a series that you didn't really want to continue reading, but you did anyways. And this one, I'm going with The Mortal Instruments. Don't hate me. I started this book at the beginning of 9th grade, and I got halfway through the second one, and I just stopped. I actually used it as, like, a prop up for my wall, and I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I loved the concept of this series and the whole idea of it. It just... And once again, can't really blame her. It was Cassandra Clare's, like, first novels that she was very early on in her writing career, and she's definitely grown by then. So I feel like if this was written in the way that she writes her books now, I would enjoy it so much more, but man, it just got dragged on. Like, it did not need to be a 6-book series. The last book did not need to be, like, 650 pages long. I understand that she loved the world and that she was making money off of it, but it could have been shorter. Like, even, like, 4 books would have been okay. Or 3. I don't know. Not 3, actually. Trilogies tend to end horribly. Have you noticed that? So that is my Irresistible Book Tag. I will go ahead and link the original video down below. I don't know if I've already said that, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whatever time it is, wherever you are, and thank you for watching. And I just liked it. I was like, cool. Setting goals, reading books, that's the way to go. Original book tab from Book Tab. Whew, I've been on the computer too long. Is that you should, I think, Shamumba. The first one is The Hunger Games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. No, I'm sorry. That's my dog. I'm not talking to the ground. I'm just breaking things. That crack? I don't think it cracked, so it's just gonna stay there. Have a wonderful, what am I doing? What is this? What is this?